Thank you, everybody, and I'm glad to be joined by Senators Durbin, Murray, and Stabenow. We had a robust and wide-ranging and really constructive discussion in our caucus today about what lies ahead, and we all want to move forward to get big things done for the American people. There are five major items we must deal with that we discussed today in the caucus. Voting rights and reconciliation, which we spent the most time on, those two, particularly reconciliation. Appropriations. Excuse me. Sorry.
Where's your mask?
It's here in my pocket, but I can't talk. I actually, this is a little known fact. After I eat, I sneeze often. All the males in my family do it. So we had a nice meal in there. Okay. Voting rights and it's not a cold, it's sneezing from eating. Yeah. Voting rights and reconciliation took the most time. Appropriations, debt limit, and nominations. Now, just like when we began earlier this year, the Senate has a whole lot of work to get done, and we are moving forward on every issue. We're making very good progress. On voting rights, Rules Chair Klobuchar, along with Senators King, Manchin, Merkley, Padilla, Tester, and Warnock, all introduced the Freedom to Vote Act today. The proposal contains many of the important provisions of previous voting rights bills championed by Democrats, particularly by my colleague Senator Merkley. To piece this bill together, I'm proud to have convened and worked with 8 members of my caucus, 4 on the liberal side, 4 on the more moderate side, to bring this bill to fruition. The bottom line, this legislation is critical for stopping some of the most egregious assaults against voting rights from Republicans, exclusively Republicans, at the state level, like the awful one, there are so many awful ones, but the awful one signed by the governor of Texas a few weeks ago. This is an important voting rights bill that I want to vote on very soon. We need to move quickly here. Time is of the essence. Every member knows that. Senator Manchin, for the last 2 weeks and continuing, is reaching out to Republican colleagues to see if they will support it or what changes they might want to make in it in an effort to get a bipartisan bill. But we know we have to move forward. We know that. Okay, on reconciliation, our caucus had a robust discussion about the latest elements of the reconciliation bill. Over August, our committees worked closely with their House counterparts to turn the budget resolution into text. And at our lunch today, we had a PowerPoint presentation. It took about 40 minutes on everything that has been agreed to between House and Senate. That's 8 committees. And the 4 committees where there hasn't been an agreement, we went over the Senate positions. So every member got a lot of detail. And our caucus will continue to have productive discussions, formally and informally, to move forward with President Biden's transformative agenda. On keeping the government funding and addressing the debt limit, every member of my caucus agrees we cannot allow a government shutdown or a catastrophic default. To prevent both of these from happening, it will require bipartisan cooperation, just as we've done in the past. For three times, Democrats voted when Trump was president to renew the debt ceiling. We didn't play games. We didn't risk the credit of the country. We did it, and that's been the history. Senator McConnell seems to be trying to break new ground by saying that we should let the country default. I'd ask you to ask each Republican senator, are they willing to vote to let the country default? Ask them. We'd also ask the business community to start weighing in on the danger to default to the entire economy, which will hurt every single person in this economy, our veterans, our elderly, our young people, you name it. So this is risky business and dangerous business that Senator McConnell is involved in. And it's the first time. A few years ago, he said, of course we have to have bipartisan efforts to avoid default. You can't keep switching, as he's doing. When the Democrats are in charge, it's one way. When the Republicans are in charge, it's another way, particularly on something so vital and sacred as the full faith and credit of this country, which generations have spent years building up. Okay? Instead of allowing the radical and dangerous schemes from Senators Johnson and Cruz, I expect cooler heads in the Republican Party will prevail. And finally, on nominations, today we're going to advance 4 presidential nominations. We continue to work to confirm President Biden's nominations as quickly as possible. We have 3 more judges this week, and by all accounts, we have confirmed more judges in our first 8.5 months than any Senate in a very long time under a new president. Senator